Hello, everyone. This is Greg Aden. Coming up, I have a wonderful guest, Jamie Shapiro, who is the CEO of Connected EC. She's been an executive coach for almost 14 years now, has a wonderful company. You're going to hear from her and find out what her secrets are relative to well-being. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to InterraWorks, based in Austin and in Nashville, potentially one of the best productivity companies on the planet. I say that because I know they are. They've also just released their Best Year Yet app, which Best Year Yet's been around 35 years. The app is new. And if you really want to have your best year yet and hold yourself accountable, this tool, this app will help you get there. It's not expensive. You'll never even know you're paying for it, but you'll get what you pay for if you use it. And I'm a user. I can't tell you how much it's helped me. And please give InterraWorks a look. You can find them on any website, interraworks.com. Stay tuned for Jamie Shapiro. Hello, everyone. This is Greg Aden with another episode of Servant Leadership Podcast. And today I have a special guest, a person I call a friend and a colleague. She's in the same business as I am. And if you're in Denver, I doubt that she needs any introduction. But those of you not in Colorado, let me introduce to you Jamie Shapiro. Jamie, how are you today?
Fabulous. Thanks for having me, Greg.
My pleasure. Just a few seconds ago, I said, let's talk about your journey and share with the audience how you got to where you are today. And more importantly, the whys that were involved along. And, I have your history up in front of me on LinkedIn, but tell us the brief version of maybe
Cool.
not from 14, 18 and up.
Yeah, I think that my journey really started in corporations. I always wanted to be a psychologist and ended up in business and had a huge passion for leadership and technology and had a wonderful career in the corporate world, but always felt like there was something missing. There was that missing fulfillment piece for me and feeling like that while I loved leadership and I really enjoyed technology, my passion was always the people side.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I was also noticing an issue in my own leadership and my peers that it seemed like the more intense our jobs got, the less we focused on our own personal well-being, and that disconnect really showed up in my capacity for leadership. So I started to connect the dots there and eventually left the corporate world and had enough space to ask myself, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I realized that my love and passion for psychology was just still there. And I really wanted to get out there and coach. So I went back to school. But I went back with a mission of connecting the dots between well-being and leadership. So at the same time that I became an executive coach, I also enrolled in nutrition school and became a nutritionist. And when I started my company, it was focused on leaders really focusing on themselves in order to lead at their full capacity. And I've had the joy of running Connected EC now for a while, and I'm trying to think how long ago, but I went back for my PhD because I really wanted to do more research and bring research into what I was doing and also connect the dots between the amazing work happening in academia and what was happening in business and make sure that gap of knowledge to, being able to practically apply it was smaller. And so that was one of the reasons I went back for my doctorate.
Congratulations on that. That was one of the things that popped out on me when I looked at what you're up to. And again, can't imagine how many, what is it, 2 or 3 years you were going through that program?
A little bit longer, but yeah, it was, it's interesting getting your PhD in your 40s. It's a whole different experience.
So
but I was clear on what I wanted to study.
And married, a couple kids. Tell us about the relationship with your wonderful partner.
Yeah, feel like the luckiest lady in the world. I have the most extraordinary husband and best friend and business partner. So we run the company together and just having a blast doing it. Really complementary, but different skills. And
Sure.
so it's been a really fun journey. We have teenagers, Jack and Ella. And for anyone who's raising teenagers, you know that is both joyful and challenging at the same time.
Yes.
Has its very challenging moments and its very beautiful moments as well.
Yeah, it's like it's nice that you said that about your spouse that we're similar but different, and you wouldn't want to marry yourself. And
No,
so
that would be a
that,
mess.
that would be very that would be well, yeah, it would be a mess and perhaps boring because you're always going to have the same ideas.
Yeah, yeah, very.
I love the fact that you said you wanted to connect leadership and well-being, and then you started saying something about leaders focusing on themselves. Well,
Yeah.
help me understand without using the take care of yourself in the airline world first before you put on someone else's mask. But where did that connection come from, or when did you first see that connection, and why did you want to study it?
Saw it in myself, honestly. I mean, I had these cycles when I was in corporate America of, okay, I'm going to focus on me and I'm going to care for myself. And it felt separate from my leadership. It just felt like, okay, I am being selfish. I am doing what I need to do right now. I'm creating the boundary and that's what I'm going to do. And it felt like I was making a choice. And I didn't really see until later that every time I made that choice, I became a better leader. Every
Mm,
time I prioritized my energy, my well being, all of a sudden I had more capacity for others. I was more strategic in my thinking. I listened better. And it took me a little while to start connecting the dots and saying, wait a minute, there's something really important here. And then there were the cycles of burnout because I absolutely experienced burnout in the corporate world. Loss of control of my nutrition. I was not moving enough. I was so stressed. I wasn't handling my own emotional landscape well. I was coming home depleted. I had nothing left for my husband Sam. This was, before I had kids. And I started to see that I was so much more empty as a leader when I wasn't caring for myself. And that emptiness created me being shorter, more impatient, less visionary, less empathetic, all of those things. So that was really my first awareness was just watching myself and my own patterns in leadership. And then also seeing that it was an epidemic. When I looked around myself at the corporate world, I was in these pretty intense technology companies and we're doing go lives and we're eating Snickers and pizza and not sleeping. And it's like all the things that are
yeah.
not good for your leadership, but we're doing them all. And it just becomes the norm.
Yeah. How much of an epidemic would you say it is today versus when you started realizing it in yourself? Part one. Part two is when you say well-being, do you
Yes.
think people really understand the value of being well
Mm. Two,
in oneself? Go ahead.
yeah, two really important questions. I think I'm going to take the second one first. In my work and my research, I really look at a pretty comprehensive model of what we consider well-being, and it has 9 dimensions. So I think sometimes when we talk about well-being, people are immediately going to my physical health. When we look at well-being, we're looking at the PERMA plus 4 model, which is 9 dimensions and is everything from positive emotion, engagement, relationships, environment. Yes, physical health is a part of that. Mindset is a part of that. Our how accomplished we feel, all of that, our financial security, all of that goes into well-being. And I think people often equate well-being only to am I physically healthy? And while that is a huge part of it, it's not all of it. And so I really try and get people to think about their well-being from a broader level because there are places in your life that you are probably really well, and there are places where you need to focus. And sometimes we get so overly focused on the problems and the places that we have opportunities versus celebrating the places where we have strengths. And so what some of the work that I do with clients is really understanding how are they and where are the places that you want to celebrate and where are the places you want to focus. the second question you asked, which is, or the first question you asked, I should say, is what's the difference between when I first started noticing to where we are today? I would love to say that because we've built so much awareness around well being, that when you look at the statistics, we have a much healthier workforce. That is sadly not the case. In fact, we're still seeing that even though companies are focusing more on well-being programs, we're not seeing a healthier workforce. And part of what I think is missing is the connection we've been talking about. We have to stop treating well-being as a separate thing from our leadership and our culture. It has to be an integrated part of what we do, and organizations and people need to start talking about them in connection with each other. I don't think there should be a single leadership development program that doesn't focus on the whole person and only focuses on just your leadership and what's between your ears. So until we get to a place
Amen.
integration, I think we're going to continue to see the statistics falling in well-being programs, unfortunately. But there's way more awareness, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, awareness is a start,
Yeah.
and not being judgmental here, but I'm going to throw this out. Boy, they're a good-looking individual. They're well fit. They speak well, and then they go home and they're a mess, or they are not really comfortable with what they're making, or who they're being, or how they're treating their spouse, or how they're being a parent. All of that is, and again, in my humble opinion, parenting has taught me more about leadership than I can ever imagine. That's
Yes.
real shit. That's real stuff. And I told you off air, I had a huge loss, and that's even more brought my attention to how can I make sure that my son grows up and is going to be responsible for everything, his thoughts, his feelings, his actions, and who is he being? And we talk about that a lot. Who are you being right now? And it's a
Yeah.
really easy question to ask your child, if they've heard it before. The first
Mm-hmm.
time it might be a little awkward. And then it gets them, I believe, it gets them to stop and say, maybe I am being a blank, fill in the adjective. Or maybe I could be more aware or more present. So the challenges that we have as parents, certainly we're seeing in the workplace. You're focused more on the workplace relative to your experiences and the people that you surround yourself with. Where have you seen your work, your suggestions, your connection between well-being and leadership really make a difference? And go ahead and brag here for a minute or three and share examples, maybe not real names, but I believe it'll give the audience some context as to, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So I think the first thing that I'll say is a lot of people don't put together nutrition and leadership. When I first started that journey, people are like, wait, what?
I
Why?
can eat what I want.
Yeah, why are you focused on what I'm eating for breakfast? That seems completely different from, my strategic communication and thinking um, but it matters. So
Yep.
little things around, I study energy for a living. That's what my research is around. And so there's so many different things that enhance and deplete our energy, but simple things like movement and nutrition and creating space in your calendar have all come up as really important factors
Wait,
in.
wait, wait, wait. I got to interrupt you right now. Did you say calendar?
I did say calendar. I said,
Thank you. Because here's where I just go nuts when I'm working with clients. I don't have time. I'm busy. Let's not even bring in the busy word. We both know how ridiculous that sounds. But we say we want to do things. We write it on a tablet somewhere. We put it on a sticky, and it's written down. But in my humble opinion, until it's in your calendar, it's never going
yeah.
to happen.
Yeah,
I
I
love
talk
it.
to my clients a lot about it is actually part of your job. I work primarily with CEOs. It is part of your job to have space. If you don't have space, that doesn't work for you as a leader. And I think that applies much broader than the CEO level. One of the surprising parts of my research that I found that was a huge energizer was feeling like you had the right amount of space for thinking
Hmm.
throughout the week, throughout the month. And I
Yeah.
Expecting that to come up in my research around vitality, but it did. And I've always really focused on prioritizing those blocks, those times where you can just settle the brain and create white space, because that's where you're optimized in your creative and innovative thinking. And if you're leading an organization or leading a team and you're not spending the time to imagine possibility, to think strategically, to think in visionary terms, you're missing a piece of your job. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is a huge piece of the puzzle that is often ignored. And a lot of times when I'm working with clients, yes, I know they have full capacity. I don't like to say busy, they full capacity, right?
Yeah.
They'll often say to me, Jamie, I can't block my count. Like I look out a week and there is just no way for me to do that. And I'm like, totally get it. Let's look out 2 weeks. Absolutely can't do it. Okay, great. Let's look out 3 weeks. Can't do it. Let's look out 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because if you never do it, it's never going to happen. So sometimes you've got to start just looking as far in advance as you can to start blocking that time. Because if you don't start now, your short term self is always going to win, and that long term self is never going to get the space.
Amen. And for those of you who have already heard me say this a few times, busy is one of my worst four-letter words. It's worse than the other one that starts with F. And
Yeah.
I'm at full capacity sounds more professional. But where I'm really going with this is, are you too busy to make space for the people you say are important, meaning your team, when all their time is being used? How could they possibly call themselves a leader if they're not leaning in, asking questions? What can we do better? What can I do better? How may I serve you? One of my favorite questions. And I just don't believe that a successful CEO, CFO, chief, whatever you want to call them,
Leader.
can leader can continue if they don't have the space in their calendar for other people. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, so much of leadership is being a phenomenal coach and empowering others and lifting others. And so if you don't have enough energy to do that, then you have to ask yourself what's going on.
Right.
And that might be time, it might be energy, but overall, your resources need to be dedicated to developing the people around you. And far too often, we get so bogged down by the meeting after the meeting after the meeting that we're not spending the right amount of time coaching and empowering others to be at their best. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you.
Jamie Shapiro, I just have to ask this question to
Yeah.
you about leaders. Why else are we here if we're not empowering others, making others better, helping them grow and achieve things that you might not have been able to achieve as a leader? But I believe we get that title and we get really comfortable, enamored. I don't know. I've arrived. Well, I appreciate where you are, but what about your team? And it's just something that I'll never really clearly understand. And when I became a coach back in 14, I don't believe leadership knew that coaching was going to be their greatest strength. And
Yes.
here we are talking about it. And I tell my clients all the time, I really appreciate your title. Congratulations. What have you done for someone on your team that you can be really proud of? The kind of thing that you go home and you say, hey, son, this is what I did today. And it wasn't all about you.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
totally.
just, it's just not that difficult. But again, it comes from a place of, perhaps in your world, energy. For me, it's come from a place of I want to. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to. I want to. And we could talk all day about the difference between need and want, but I love what you're doing, trying to help the individual, the human being, be better and then have more energy so that, and then fill in the blank. And again, I just think what you and your organization is doing is terrific. I remember when we first met, I thought, now there's a sharp individual who's got a huge freaking heart. And you haven't changed a bit.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. We've known each other for many, many years, and you've been focused and passionate about servant leadership from the moment I met you. So it's beautiful to watch the work you're doing in the world as well.
It's fun. It's fun. And I have a target for people who are curious. I have a target for people who have empathy. We've already discussed that in different frames, but now what do you want to do? And my goal is to help people reach heights that they didn't know that were even there because they haven't opened that door. They were afraid to go in the closet or up the stairs or down the stairs, whatever you want to talk about. And my superpower is just I am curious. And that's why
Hmm.
I love the podcast so much. It's not about me. It's about helping people in the world recognize there's a lot of really cool people out there,
Oh,
but
yes.
there's a lot of cool people who want to help you. And if
Yes.
I can bring that to light for somebody, those connections are invaluable to me.
Amazing.
So I have to ask, what would you tell a 28-year-old who went to college, has a graduate degree, is in an executive program somewhere, and hasn't quite figured out what they want to do? What would you tell them right now?
To have courage, I think. I think sometimes we think about courage as the absence of fear, and I like to think about courage as having fear and doing it anyway. And I think my 28-year-old self, and I know you didn't say talk to your 28 yourself, but I have to in frame. I didn't believe in myself enough. I didn't have enough courage. It took me longer to figure out what I truly wanted to do. And so I think I would tell a 28-year-old to have the courage to believe in yourself, know that there will be fear, and that's okay. That's a part of this journey. I still have it at 48, 20 years later, still there. I call it the little flame, right? Sometimes it gets really big, sometimes not, but fear is a part of this journey. And take the leap, take the leap into what is going to fulfill you. There's a wonderful quote. I don't know who said it, but it's one of my favorites, which is purpose is discovering your gifts and fulfillment is giving them to the world. And
Mm.
I love that quote. And I think I would just say, have the courage to discover what your gift is and then give that to the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. And courageous conversations is kind of my thing. And I'm not asking people to be absent of fear, but if you were more courageous, what would that look like? What would
Mm.
your relationships look like? What would your bank account look like? What would your friendships look like? Encourage to let relationships go, Jamie. There's people in our lives that aren't serving us anymore, and yet we have angst around it. Pray on it. Put it uh, in your heart when you're walking, and ask yourself, are they still serving me? And if not, it's okay to say, I've been fired before from a friend. I've been let go of. And guess what? Sometimes I didn't see what I wasn't supposed to be doing or what I could have done better. And instead of saying, hey, we're going to help you, we're just going to let you go. And I don't mean from a job, but it's okay to have the courage to have those conversations. And maybe when you were 28, you got along really well. And now at 48, it's different, and that's okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I love what you said about believe in yourself and take the leap.
Yeah.
That's great advice. And I would guess any 28-year-olds plus or minus that are listening to this and seeing you, they would probably ask themselves, when was she ever afraid?
Oh my goodness. I'm still afraid.
But see, that's what's beautiful about this conversation and where you've been is you can tell a young woman it happens. It's going to happen. And it's not ever going to stop. We'll always have something that we're not quite sure about. But guess
Mhm.
what? Do we want a life and a job and a career and relationships that are going to be everything is exactly the way they're supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's why
I
there's
think
so, yeah, go ahead.
anytime we push outside of our comfort zone, that's where the fear comes in. And it's the part of us that's trying to keep us safe and in the comfortable. But I'm on a journey of wanting to grow and learn every single day. And there's certainly things I'm doing right now in my career that are bringing out all of that all over again, pushing outside of my comfort zone. So I think it's just part of the journey of being willing to just continually grow. And so I guess I don't ever want to let go of that because if I'm ever too comfortable, that means I'm not growing. And so I think it's just after so many years of being with it, you start to develop a different relationship with it.
Well, and also your two most valuable audience members, Jack and Ella, are they're watching you. They're watching you grow. They're watching you struggle. They're watching you celebrate. And if it was easy, I don't know. I don't really think that's parenting, but that's just another conversation. But anyway, anything that you'd like to say about yourself, your company, how we can reach you? Obviously, all that will be on the pages when we post this. But anything you'd like to share to the world about who you are, what you do, and how they can reach you?
Um, I love connecting with people. So if anyone wants to reach out, feel free. Part of my growth journey and the uncomfortable part of my world right now is I'm actually on social media more than I've ever been and sharing video content. So that's very new and different for me. So people can find me, I think, on all the social media channels, which is funny because I used to never be on any of them. But I'm on all of them right now. So that's been a journey. So you can find me there, doing a ton of video content. And then my second book, Connected Culture, is coming out April 7th, and you can pre order that now.
Beautiful. Love to get a copy of that. And I did see I think you just put it out there on LinkedIn yesterday. You were sitting there in a blue sweater talking about the CEO that you had an experience with. And I listened to it, and it was fantastic.
Oh,
You're very believable. And that's what I look for. And again, we can add this in, we can keep this in or leave it out, but there's so many people out there who are just so full of themselves, and it just drives me batty.
I
And
know.
it's just be real. I mean, we all have a gray hair, we all have some wrinkles, we all have things that we're not proud of, but it doesn't matter. That's what makes us a human being.
Yeah.
And God bless AI,
Yeah.
but it's not helping your well-being. It's not going to make you eat better or think better. It's going to make you write better and sound smarter.
Yeah.
And it certainly does. But great advice. So anything you'd like for me to do for you after we say goodbye? Anything I can do for you?
Oh, thank you. I'd love to send you a book once I can. And yeah, that would be awesome.
There's three people that I'm reaching for their book so I can show you. This lady, her name is Catherine Henry. It's a dime to say I love you. I don't know if you've read this. It's
Mm-mm.
relatively new. It's about a love story she had with her partner who died of cancer, and the things they learned together and what she's now doing in the world. I believe you two would be well served to know each other. And you probably know Patty Beach here locally. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that book, Art of Alignment. And then I interviewed Sarah Thurber. We shared the stage together. Do you know Sarah?
I don't know, Sarah.
Yeah, Good Team, Bad Team. Anyway, her and her husband Blair Miller wrote this book, and a lot of great stuff around good teams and bad teams. And I believe that would have a great intersection to what you and your organization's doing. But I'll introduce you to the other two that you don't know.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Greg. It's so nice to see you.
Good to see you too, and thank you for being our guest. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my sponsor, InterraWorks. If you haven't gotten the new Best Year Yet app, I would strongly recommend it. It's not new; it's been around for 30 some years. Not the app, but the profile. And if you really want to have your best year yet, then do the work, and the app will help you do the work and stay accountable. Because I believe my guest Jamie would agree, you can write things down, but unless you actually honor your word and hold yourself accountable, not much is going to change.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for being with us. And again, Jamie Shapiro, thank you for being my guest, and God bless and good luck to you.
Thanks, Greg.
Wow. Great conversation. Jamie's just a beautiful human being, and she cares about other human beings. And you can see that, you can hear that, and you can believe that just by seeing who she is and how she shows up for others. I love the part where she was talking about the well-being and connectivity of a leader to their team is just as important as who they're being as a human being. Awareness, connection, and she said something really valuable, and I hope you picked up on this, is are we as leaders, are we as human beings, frankly, making space to think, making space to plan? And if you're always at full capacity or busy, then how are you serving your team? And that's very important to me. And I know you just heard Jamie and I agree on that. And at the very end, courage, believe in yourself, take the leap. And I don't care what credentials you have or don't have. What is it that you really want to accomplish, and how are you going to get there? So have the courageous conversation with yourself and others. Ask for what it is that you want and take the leap. I guarantee you, without that, you're not going to end up where you say you want to. I just want you to listen to your heart and find out where it is that you want to go. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation, Jamie Shapiro and I, and stay tuned for the next episode of Servant Leadership Podcast. Thank you.